Shalom, Reb Brian Yosef here. This week's video on Parshat Va'era talks about the Exodus story as a pointer to the process of inner liberation. Inner liberation from what? From that sense of not wanting to be in this moment that we're in. Because any type of negativity that we might find ourselves in, anger, frustration, resentment, fear, are really all different forms of this basic resistance of not wanting to be here. And that's the ultimate Mitzrayim. That's the slavery in Egypt, that sense of inner constrictedness, of saying no to our lives in this moment. But there is a path out of that. There is a path to openness, to ease, to spaciousness, and most of all, a saying yes to the reality of this moment within which we find ourselves. And that's inner liberation. That's coming into the promised land. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That helps me out a lot. And now on with the teaching. The Parsha opens with Hashem telling Moses, Va'era, I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and promising to bring the children of Israel to the promised land. Moses and Aaron repeatedly come before Pharaoh to demand, let my people go, but Pharaoh refuses. In response, Aaron's staff turns into a snake and swallows the staffs of the other Egyptian sorcerers, which had also turned into snakes, but Pharaoh remains obstinate. A series of plagues then begin to descend upon the Egyptians. The waters of the Nile turn to blood, swarms of frogs overrun the land, lice infest human and beast alike, wild animals invade the cities, a pestilence kills the domestic animals, painful boils afflict the Egyptians, and for the seventh plague, fire and ice combine to descend from the skies as a devastating hail. Fire and ice, I think that was a Pat Benatar song. Still, the heart of the Pharaoh was hardened, and he would not let the children of Israel go. Okay, this is a verse we're going to look at. It's a very interesting verse. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe. Hashem said to Moses, Re'eh, see, nataticha Elohim leFaro. I have made you God to Pharaoh. Ve'aharon achicha yihyeh neviecha. And Aaron, your brother, will be your prophet. The Talmud relates the following story. Rabbi Yochanan was a great miracle worker and healer. When he visited a sick person, he would ask, are these afflictions dear to you? If they would answer, neither they nor their reward, then he would take them by the hand and they would be instantly healed. One day, Rabbi Yochanan fell sick. Rabbi Hanina went to visit him and asked, are these afflictions dear to you? Answered Rabbi Yochanan, neither they nor their reward. Just then, as Rabbi Yochanan had done for so many others, Rabbi Hanina offered his hand and healed Rabbi Yochanan. The Talmud then asks, why did Rabbi Yochanan need Rabbi Hanina's help? Let him heal himself. It then answers its own question, Ein chavush matir atzmo mi beit ha'asurim. A prisoner cannot release himself from prison. What's the meaning of this story in a deeper sense? Just as a prisoner needs someone else to open the jail cell from the outside, so too a teacher can help us get free in the spiritual sense. But just as the prisoner still has to walk out of the jail cell on their own, so too a teacher can unlock our inner prison by imparting knowledge. But we still have to walk out of the jail cell ourselves by doing the inner work of meditation. And yet, in the case of getting free from our own minds, there must be a part of ourselves that is already free. Otherwise, it would be impossible to see beyond our limited perspective and we would be stuck forever. The part that sees was never stuck in the first place. And this is the morning blessing, affirming this fact. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, shelo asani aved, who has not made me a slave. No matter how stuck we become, our essential identity is still bigger than the me, bigger than the patterns of thoughts and personal stories with which our consciousness tends to identify. Our essential identity beyond the me is always already free. Of course, when we're stuck, we lose consciousness of this fact. Or perhaps we haven't had consciousness of it yet at all. That's what meditation is supposed to do for us. Meditation, in its potential and its power, and why it's so important to do every day, is that it helps us approach this experience of the inner freedom and knowing ourselves as that deeper element which is already free. That is consciousness itself. So here is Moses' response to Hashem. Hashem saying, go free the Israelites. He's saying, Hein ani aral sefatayim. I have sealed lips. Ve'ech yishma alai paro. How is Pharaoh going to listen to me? This is the negative self-talk, right? But Hashem reassures Moses in an incredibly surprising way, like we saw before. Re'eh netaticha Elohim leFaro. See, I have made you God, Elohim, to Pharaoh. Moses is God. What does this mean? But the key is in the first word, re'eh, see. That which sees, the awareness that looks through your eyes, is the master over all the other elements of me. It is the God within, your essential identity. If you don't know that, you identify with all those other elements, with feelings, with thoughts, with memories, with ideas, all those strands that make up the web of the personality, meaning Pharaoh. But as soon as you hear the divine command to see, and here we see how the different senses are metaphors for a process of becoming aware. So hearing the divine command means understanding what you need to do, and then the seeing is the doing of it. It's the being aware of what is present. So that's why hearing the divine command to see is really a metaphor for the teaching, for receiving the teaching to be aware. And then the exodus can begin, and your essential identity can start to awaken. But your awareness is not only the master of your personality, it is much more than that. Vayedaber Elohim el Moshe, vayomer elav ani Adonai. Elohim said to Moses, I am Hashem. The first name, the first divine name, Elohim, means the divine personality. It is the deity. The second name, the unpronounceable Yod-He-Vav-He, is far more expansive. It is existence itself, not a divine being merely within existence. The message here is that your ani, your essential identity, is not something separate from the rest of existence. Your essential identity is existence, waking up as you, yet within, yet beyond that sense of me. The awakening of your essential identity beyond your personality is actually something very simple. It might take years of learning and practice for this awakening to stabilize. It takes no time at all to shift into an awakened state, that is, to become present. And so when we hear these kinds of words, that's a good reminder to just do it right now. Over time, this practice of seeing the fullness of this moment as it is leads to a shift in identity, a shift into knowing yourself as the seeing, and even deeper, as being itself, seeing through your eyes. In this week of Shabbat Va'era, the Sabbath of appearing, may we practice bringing our wakefulness into every encounter, moment by moment, bringing ourselves and our species closer to our divine potential. Amen, so it may be.